Alright, Pokemon fans, I just wanted to do an interesting video today in regards to a meme that I saw on a Pokemon Facebook page earlier today on Facebook, and I actually got into a very good discussion with fellow Pokemon anime fans. And the topic of this meme is actually about two of Ash's female traveling companions, Misty from the original arc in the series, as well as Iris from the Black and White Universe series. And honestly, it's a compare and contrast meme where the meme pretty much breaks down the characteristics of both female characters. Both female companions, they always argue with Ash in some way, form, or another, usually resulting in them calling him immature and a child, monotype and good in that type, meaning that they specialize in one type of Pokemon and excel in their field. You know, Misty being the water trainer and Iris being the dragon trainer. So it is kind of odd because Iris really did have more unique Pokemon. When I say that non-dragon type, I mean such as Emolga and Escadrille. She has Dragonite eventually. She has Axew, and in an unaired episode in Japan, an unaired episode in the US, there was an episode where she met up with Clarion for a battle and caught a wild Gibble. So technically, she has three dragons now. And Misty, she has a unique team as well. I believe she had Togepi, which evolved into Togetic. And as far as I know, everybody else is pretty much within the water category. They denied the fact that they were following Ash. I mean, Misty did it frequently, saying that she wasn't following Ash. She was just accompanying him until he paid her back for the bicycle. And Iris was really weird with it. Sorry about that. Sometimes weird about her intentions, where she kept saying she was just going in the same direction as Ash, and it wasn't until episode 13, or it was the episode where there was that adult female Pokemon trainer who didn't really know what she was doing, trying to teach her Dritigan, you know, how to be a great battler. And that's when Iris finally admitted to her goals of being a Dragon Master. I believe the episode was called The Path to Becoming a Dragon Master or something like that. And even so, you know, that was her main goal, but for some odd reason she found it, I don't know, like important to keep that a secret for a while. And they were both gym leaders. Of course, Iris was more of a gym leader in training at the later half of the Black and White series, if I'm not mistaken, right before the Unova League. And that's when Drayden revealed his intentions of having Iris, you know, be the gym leader once he retires. So the meme goes on to say Misty was loved and Iris was hated. And at the bottom, you have a Good Burger screenshot where Iris's face is in the face of Kel, where it says, is it because I'm black? And I was deciding whether or not to even involve that in the meme, so I actually cut it out because really it's irrelevant. Because honestly, you know, in the world we're living today, politics, racism, skin color, I'm not trying to talk about that in this video. So really, I just want to look at the meme itself in terms of the anime. Two of Ash's traveling companions who are females, and why one seemed to be loved and the other hated. Now, I want to say this much. The Black and White, the Unova series as a whole, to me personally, I felt like it was the Dragon Ball GT of the Pokemon anime franchise. Because honestly, a lot of people just hate it. They think that it's possibly one of the worst things to ever come out of the anime. I'm inclined to agree, because that series had so many flaws. That's not to say some of my favorite series, like the Diamond and Pearl series, the Pokemon Advanced Art, and heck, don't even get me started on Kanto. There were so many flaws in the series, but at the same time, Unova, to me, there was just a bad taste in my mouth. Most likely because Ash had come so far as a Pokemon trainer, especially in the Diamond and Pearl series, and then to see him get hit with a reset button just like Pikachu. I mean, to have a Pikachu tie with a Latios in the quarterfinals of a Pokemon League, and then lose to a level 5 Snivy, like Trip legit got the Snivy from Professor Juniper walked outside, Ash goes up to challenge him to a match and he loses. Yes, Zekrom did steal Pikachu's electricity, but at the same time, he still had access to Iron Tail and Quick Attack. Pikachu hit Snivy with Quick Attack dead on, but it still survived. That's another video in itself. I mean, this series was just not off to a good start, especially at the very beginning when they mentioned he was still 10 years old, but that's besides the point. The reason that Misty seemed to be loved is the fact that, you know, her character was an original, you know, like if you look at this meme itself, you can almost say that skin color and hair length aside, they're carbon copies of each other. And that's why a lot of people didn't like Iris, because we had already seen that kind of female in Ash's group before with Misty. And I'm going to be honest, I love Misty compared to Iris, but as an adult, and I'm 25, watching the original series, you know, I just found that Misty was really a pain in the butt. I mean, yeah, as a kid, you know, you knew it was kind of cute, you know, that they would kind of fight with each other. And even a Nurse Joy in the Electric Shock Showdown episode where Pikachu and Raichu faced off at the Lieutenant Surge's gym in Vermilion City. Yeah. That's when Nurse Joy said something about you always hurt the one you love, or, you know, something to that regards. And then right there, you just know that it's pretty much kids at that age. When you have a crush on someone, but you don't know how to express your feelings, so you just make fun of them. So that was a back and forth thing with Ash and Misty for quite some time until she eventually left the group. And Iris, here's why I feel like Iris is more of a pain in the butt than Misty, believe it or not. It's the fact that she kept calling Ash a little kid and just scolded him so much. And I'll never forget, here's a good comparison. Okay, it was the episode Ash versus Trip or something like that. You know how that, for some reason, the Black and White series had very awful episode titles. There was no, like, you know, hidden meaning behind it. It was like they flat out told you the plot of an episode. Ash and Trip's third battle. And, you know, there's just a lot I can't even go into. It's just ridiculous. But it was the episode where Ash and Trip met up at a battle club, I believe you call it, with Don George. And they had their 5-on-5 because Ash didn't have 6 Pokemon. Well, in any case, it was when Snivy went up against Jellicent and used Vine Whip. And then Iris went off saying, no, don't make direct attacks, because if you do, Curse Body would come into effect. And then she literally went off yelling that, you know, it was such a dumb move for him to act like a little kid for not knowing that. In Ash's defense, yeah, and again, this is very hard for me to defend Ash in the Universe series. He's going up against Pokemon who have moves, types, and abilities he's never seen before, like type combinations. And yeah, he didn't know that Curse Body was a thing. Fast forward to the Don George tournament, I believe it was Iris versus the guy with the Zora, the Gullet, and the Larvesta. And I remember it was the quarterfinals of that match. It was, put it this way, it was the battle where Axew pulled Outrage out of his ass out of nowhere and then won the fight. Remember that Iris used Scratch Attack on Gullet and it was a ghost type? And then fast forward again to where she thought that Charizard was a dragon when she first saw Ash's Charizard. There were so many times where Ash could have literally just told her off, saying that you're a little kid too, but he never did that. So, as difficult as for me to say right now, if you really think about it, Ash was more mature than Iris. And the reason that I hate Iris a lot in regards to her making fun of Ash all the time is that she doesn't really look at herself at the mistakes she makes, and she makes a lot of them. Usually some of the same mistakes as Ash, when you really think about it, you know, neglecting to think about types and abilities instead of, you know, just rushing into attack. But, you know, I'm just saying that the reason Misty didn't rub me the wrong way like that is because she was, for the most part, a competent trainer. She wasn't the best, but she was actually pretty good. But that was one of the hard pills to swallow about the Kanto series. If you really look back at it, let's compare Misty to Dawn. I know Dawn isn't in this post, but kind of think of it this way. Whenever Ash was fighting Team Rocket or, you know, evil person in her Pokemon, he'd always go like Pikachu Thunderbolt, and every time, without fail, you know, she'd say Piplup used Bubble Beam, and always joked around, yeah, because she didn't want Piplup to miss out on any experience points, so she took some away from Pikachu. When you look at it that way, it's because Dawn was written to be a lot more proactive. When you look at the Kanto region, a lot of the times it's Misty or Brock saying, Ash, you got to do something. And I'm like, you two are gym leaders. You have Pokemon just like he does. Why don't you help out? So really look back at some of the Kanto episodes whenever there's an emergency going down, and you'll see what I'm saying. Not just Kanto, but the original series as a whole. And Iris, on the other hand, I don't know. Well, again, Misty really didn't do much in regards to training. Oh, excuse my voice kind of went out there. When you look at Iris, this was another... Okay, this isn't so much annoying in regards to Iris herself, but in terms of how she does things. Again, not the person, but the way she goes about doing things. It was the episode where the bloom is on Axew or something like that. It was the one where Scolipede was introduced. Axew got caught in the head antenna of Scolipede. It was the episode we learned that she had Escadrille. Long story short, she's training with Pansage, a silenced Pansage, and he's literally using 5 or 10% of his power to actually fight back against Axew. And then Ash makes a good point. It's like, hey, the best way to train is to go all out. And she's like, look, I'm going to do things my way, keep your nose out of my business. Honestly, she made a good point. Both of them had good points because Ash knows, from experience, unlike Iris, that the best way to train is to go head on. Even though that kind of conflicts with what he was against in regards to Paul's way of doing things, but that's another video in itself. Iris doesn't really train. If you look at the, I guess you could say, level restricted match with Silent in terms of Pansage not using his full power or anywhere close to it, that was really the only training we saw her do aside from teaching Excadrill when they work together to master Focus Blast. And when it comes to, let's just focus on Axew. The only other quote-unquote training it did was against Scraggy to, if I'm not mistaken, it was between her Dragon Sneeze, not Dragon Rage, because it wasn't mastered yet, and typically Scraggy's Headbutt and High Jump kick attacks. That was it. The matches always ended in a draw because... Or, Axew might win because Dragon Rage or Dragon Sneeze would take out the entire area. There was really no definitive training where, we saw Iris, leveling up Axew because it was given to her as a baby. And by the elder of the Village of Dragons to kind of prove her worth as a Dragon Master in training. And even the episode with the Munala, the psychic Pokemon that... What is it, Muna and Munala, the evolved one that shows people's dreams or something like that? The one with the flower on the side. It showed that Axew's dream was to fully evolve. We never even saw it evolve. And another thing that pissed me off is, again, you look at it learning Outrage out of nowhere, and then Cynthia's Garchomp, which this is what I hate about Cynthia being in the Unova series, the fact that she was really depowered. I mean, the Garchomp that took out 4 of Paul's Pokemon with one hit wasn't even able to take out Axew, who pretty much survived a Draco Meteor. And God, I'm sorry, that episode just tore me up on the inside. It was just because Paul is my favorite character, so to see Garchomp unable to knock out Axew, you can make the argument, well, it was holding back, blah, blah, blah. But I mean, it was a Draco Meteor. Seriously, Axew survived one of those. I mean, even if it was technically one small meteor, but still. And then out of nowhere, he used Giga Impact to knock down Garchomp. I get, well, the force of the impact, no. And then after that, the only time we see it using Giga Impact again was when it was taken over by Team Plasma's evil machine or mind control machine on Pokemon, and that's it. And we never see any kind of, training or evolutions there. Honestly, to be fair, you look at Misty, who has Psyduck. And this really doesn't play well for a character as a good water Pokemon gym leader. A Psyduck that can't swim, but for some odd reason is extremely OP when it comes to its psychic powers. Once its psychic powers are untapped, boom, that's victory right there. It's almost like Gohan, whenever he gets pissed off, his power surges up in an instant win. So when you compare the two characters, I mean, Iris, and another thing that really made me mad about Iris was the fact that she won the tournament against Ash. I mean, yeah, he was using Pikachu against Escadrille. That wasn't really a good matchup, but at the same time, she just made her way there like a Molga who never listened to her all of a sudden decided to listen to her and fight on her terms. Axew pulling outrage out of his butt out of nowhere, and then using, you know, a trademark Pokemon, Excadrill to win. But at the same time, it's like, you know, it was ridiculous. I mean, go to the World Island tournament where Psyduck of all Pokemon defeated Ash's Kingler with the whole, oh my god, he uses Psychic's powers to win. It was stupid. So overall, I feel like Iris has a lot of potential. Well, excuse me. Well, I don't think she's coming back anytime soon. She had a lot of potential. I felt like, you know, her being the potentially, you know, since it is Japan, when I don't know if you could technically call her African American, but her skin is darker. I'll put it that way because I'm African American myself, so I'll say that. The fact that she was the first, you know, African American female companion of Ash, I felt like that had a lot of potential. You know, not necessarily meaning that, you know, a lot of black stereotypes were into play. That's not what I'm saying. I just felt like it would be interesting to have her be more unique. Not necessarily sassy like a lot of black girls, but, you know, just to make her character more, you know, her. But in contrast, we got sorry, my voice again, a carbon copy of Misty, and that's probably why her character got, you know, a lot of hate. Because really, she was pointing out a lot of the flaws with the Black and White series as a whole in terms of Ash's character, and the fact he was acting like a little kid a lot, made a lot of stupid mistakes he should have known better to do. So really, in a way, Iris was a good character in pointing out those things. But again, the most annoying factor to me personally was the fact that she was guilty of a lot of those same sins as Ash, but she never pointed that out. So with that being said, I want to bring this video to a close. Which character did you like the most? Honestly, again, I'm going to say Misty. Yes, she is annoying. Honestly, her and Iris are almost one and the same, but I guess you could say that Misty was the original OG nagging girl of Ash's group. So again, let me know in the comments, who did you love? Who did you hate? Did you really feel like Iris had a lot of potential but was written poorly? And now please like, comment, and subscribe. That way you can keep updated on my new videos.